We've all seen those videos at Waffle House, where plates, chairs, and even people go flying. Have you ever wondered what led up to that? Was it the service, the food, or perhaps something else? Wink wink. Well, in this video, we're going to go to a few different Waffle Houses across America, read some funny and outrageous 1-star reviews, and have some fun along the way. I want to give a quick shout out to Truckman315 for this amazing suggestion. Comment any suggestions you have. Subscribe and join the Jeff Freaks. I'm trying to hit that 1K subscriber mark and you could be one of them. And leave a like for that pesky algorithm. With that out of the way, let's go have some fun at Waffle House. Our first Waffle House is in Alabama in Huntsville. It has a 3.7 rating on 1,186 reviews. This Waffle House is located on a very busy looking road lined with car dealerships, and it's next to a Japanese steakhouse. That's quite the contrast. Japanese steakhouse and Waffle House. So let's go to the Waffle House and read those 1-star reviews. The first review for this Waffle House comes from Hunter. Had to ask for silverware 4 different kinds because the ones they kept giving my son and I were dirty, with food caked on them, as well as improperly cooked scrambled eggs and just unappealing waffles. Pictured below is the second blueberry waffle I asked for because the first one looked moldy. I did not eat this waffle either. Both were soggy and well undercooked. I've never gotten food that looked like this and had to be sent back so many times. Management needs retraining as well, as I contacted Huntsville Food and Safety and made a report on cleanliness and contaminated product being served. Here's a better look at Hunter's blueberry waffles. I don't know about you guys, but those might be the worst waffles I've ever seen ever made by somebody over the age of 10 years old. Like seriously, they look like they were made out of pure spite for Hunter. What did Hunter do to the cook at this Waffle House? Maybe when you see those people throw plates in those videos, it's because they got waffles like Hunter's. Anyways, let's move on and read ZZ Just's review. Every time I've had waffles at this place, I always have terrible stomach problems, and I've had friends that say they've got food poisoning here. Keep in mind, I also go to other nearby locations, and I've never had problems. The service was, okay. I get charged a different amount each time I go. I'm sure they just keep the extra charge for themselves. And don't get me started on the homeless people that hang around. Just overall, the worst Waffle House I've ever been to. And they also like to say their system is down when they don't want to take orders. Do not recommend this place at all. You'd have a better experience going all the way to Madison. I just have so much to say. I thought about contacting HR or even FDA, cause this isn't normal or acceptable at all. This review confused me. Why would you go back if you and multiple other people had stomach problems eating there, and you didn't have stomach problems at the other places? I personally didn't eat croutons for 15 years because of one bad experience when I was like 7 years old. Anyways, let's move on and read Josserlin's review. I had ordered food the day before. The eggs was cooked incorrectly. I tried calling, but they have no phone, so I was unable to contact them once I got to work. I brought the eggs back the next day to get remade. The manager on duty gives me a stank face and asks for a receipt like the food was not sitting in front of her. She was hesitant to replace them even with the food was in front of her. The waitress that took my order was very polite. I can't believe they brought the eggs back the next day. That's incredible to me. Use that energy to make some good eggs at home. Or something. I'm still shaking my head after that last review. Let's move on and see what happened to Drea. Came 2 days in a row. They didn't have any napkins or utensils. I was charged a different price for the same thing I got the day before. The omelet I got had very soft and chewy bacon I couldn't eat. And the cheese was so thick. This is another person talking about how the prices are different on 2 different days. How does that happen? Do you guys have any theories? Let me know. And while you're doing that, let me know what you thought about this Waffle House and let's go to the next one. Our next Waffle House is in Memphis, Tennessee. This Waffle House has a 3.8 rating on 1,504 reviews. Honestly, it looks like this Waffle House could be down the street from that first one. And it's next to a place called Fred's Super Dollar. I really want to go to Fred's Super Dollar. That sounds like my kind of place. Anyways, let's go to those Waffle House reviews. Our first review for this Waffle House comes from Dorothy. It was ridiculous how awful the service and food was. My daughter, who loves to visit Waffle House every time she comes home, thought this restaurant was laughable. Ha ha ha. The worst experience ever. Orders were wrong. Food was brought to the table with no silverware, butter, syrup, etc. We laughed about it. 8-hour wrong orders, but won't be back to this particular Waffle House. Negative or no stars given. One positive thing that happened is at least Dorothy and her daughter made a lifetime memory with their so bad it's funny experience at this Waffle House. Let's move on and see how many things went bad for Smurfy. I waited an hour on my food and it came out room temperature. It was late night and I had to order outside and wait on my order. We had a large order and everything was cold. I returned the food as soon as I got it. I wanted it remade. It was such a commotion that I decided to get a refund instead. I was starving and disappointed. Too bad we don't have footage of the commotion caused by Smurfy returning the large order that seemed to overwhelm the kitchen the first time around. Did they take the plates and spike them into the garbage, or did they hurl them around? Is this why plates go flying sometimes at Waffle House? And people? Oh, just Jeff sneaking in here real quick to give a shout out to the Super Jeffrey channel members. Darth Jen, Jawara Hall, Steven, Jake, and Aurora's Aura. Thank you so much for that extra support. Alright, back to the video. I'm starting to understand why we see all those videos that happen at Waffle House. Late night, people are hungry, maybe under the influence, and they get frustrated and emotional when their food comes out all wonky and terrible. Let's see what else happens here with Jamie's review. Me and my friends were denied service after only being seated for 5 minutes because we were not ready to order when they wanted us to. A server then returned and said the district manager made the call but could not come out to speak with us. Terrible service. Thumbs down. I have this weird feeling that we're missing part of the story. Do you guys agree? I don't get why they would get kicked out after 5 minutes if they didn't know what they wanted. That seems a bit harsh, right?
No,
Waffles. Something's missing. I can smell it. Or is that a burnt waffle? Alright, let's move on and see what happened to Danielle at this Waffle House. I visited this location with my dad. We were greeted upon entering. However, employees were using profanity loudly with no regards to customers. I ordered my regular quick fix grilled chicken and hash brown. Chicken was very dry and hash browns tasted old. Will not be returning to that location. Profanity at a Waffle House from the employees? Say it isn't so. No way. What? I guess if you want that more family experience, you should go somewhere with family in the name. Or like a Denny's. Well, what'd you guys think of that Waffle House? Let me know, and let's go to the next one. Our next Waffle House is in Mississippi, Mississippi, Canton, Mississippi. This Waffle House has a 3.5 rating on 642 reviews. It's a very normal looking Waffle House like the rest of these have been, and it's located on a 4-lane street next to a McDonald's and across the street from a Popeyes. All sorts of options for gut rot. Let's see what this Waffle House has to offer. Let's get into our first review for this Waffle House, and that one comes from Mishi. When I walked in, the tables needed to be cleaned. There was throw-up-like stains on the windowsills. The napkin dispenser was empty. My waffle was undercooked. My hash rows were so stacked up and thick that the center was not cooked at all. Well, Mishi's review sure painted a scene of how this Waffle House is going to go. I also hope that those stains were puke, but I have a weird feeling that they are, and that is just disgusting. but probably not too out of the ordinary for a Waffle House. Moving on, let's see what happened to Kristen. Absolutely the most rude people.
I'm not making your food unless you give me a $20 cash tip.
A disgusting attitude can ruin an entire business. Another review that makes me understand why chairs and plates and stuff can go flying at a Waffle House. Having someone demand a $20 tip before they make your food when they're open for business would drive some hangry people absolutely insane, especially if there's no Snicker bars around. So far, this Mississippi Waffle House has been pretty crazy. Let's see what happened to Karen. This is absolutely the nastiest Waffle House O have been in. The waitress wiped the table. Not a good job. She left a napkin on the table. It and the sugar dispenser were stuck to the table with what I assumed was syrup. I ordered an unsweet tea, a waffle, and bacon. The tea was very weak. The first waffle was tore up and paper thin. I asked for another one. Utility was just as thin. Would not melt butter. Also had uncooked batter on side. The bacon was lukewarm. Ate it anyway. Ate about half of waffle. Did not have good flavor. My husband's BLT had less than one slice of bacon and about 2 inches if lettuce. Not a good experience. Will not go back to this Waffle House. If someone's really bored out there, they should keep track of how many of these reviews end with "I'm not going back to this Waffle House," but not Waffle House in general. There's always another one out there lurking,
waiting for another victim.
Back to Karen's review. Lucky for us, she included pictures of this disaster of a meal. The waffle that the butter won't melt on, which you can also see how thin it is, doesn't look too appealing. Looks worse than an Eggo waffle to me. The next picture is the half-raw bacon. Looks kind of normal to me. And Karen's husband's BLT, which he might be holding because all that's on his table is some lettuce and maybe soup. And it kind of looks a little bit more than 2 inches of lettuce. And why didn't Karen just share like a piece of bacon with her husband? So many questions. Also, don't be afraid to comment any theories you have to any of the questions I ask myself. I love to read your comments and I love to interact with you guys. Alright, let's move on and read Tim's review. I travel a lot, and Waffle House is my fallback. This time, it was a mistake. This location is a disaster. This was a hard review to write, but someone needs to pay attention. Lucky for us again, Tim included pictures of the disaster. Look at those waffle makers and those mounds of batter just caked around them. Like, that wouldn't take that long to clean up. Just bring a garbage can over, scoop it all off, and just start new. Like, people can see that. And the other picture is like the coffee station, and you can see a ton of splatter all around. It looks like a pot of coffee got myrtleized there or something. So, what'd you guys think of this Waffle House? Would you stop by on your road trip through Mississippi? Let me know what you thought, and let's go to the next one. We make our way out of Mississippi and head to North Carolina to Greensboro for the next Waffle House. This Waffle House has a 3.7 rating on 1,150 reviews. This Waffle House is sandwiched between a used car dealership and a home-style restaurant. So if you run into some profanity or really bad waffles at this Waffle House, you have another restaurant to go to. So let's get to those 1-star reviews. Our first review for this North Carolina Waffle House comes from A.T. Cook was horrible. Server not far behind. Couldn't tell if he was talking to us or to whomever was in his earpiece. I feel like this sort of awkward situation has happened to pretty much everybody. You're at like a grocery store, the person next to you has like a Bluetooth headset in, or nowadays it's more like AirPods or something, and they ask a question, you think they're talking to you, and you look at them kind of dumbfounded until you realize they have like an earpiece in. It's even worse if it's on like their opposite side, and you're like, is this person talking to themselves? Are they talking to me? What's going on? It's always a little awkward. It's even more awkward if you get asked a question like you work there, which has also happened to me. Enough about me. Let's see what happened to Dawson. Waitress Timmy was incredibly rude. Disgusting behavior to everyone there, including coworkers. Ignored us as she was cleaning the bar. She just pushed the food into the seats. Was incredibly rude with serving us. Don't expect 5-star service from a Waffle House. But we are here quite often and served amazingly. Multiple times we were ignored and given a smug look. Our plates were tossed at us over the counter. Not a single smile was given. You'd think when you rely on tips you would at least try to act like a decent human being. Somebody in Waffle House corporate definitely needs to evaluate Timmy and her customer service. Other waitresses there are amazing and apologize for the experience. Much appreciated. I do have to say, I wasn't too sure if it was Timmy or Timey. Hard to say. Anyways, this is another one of those reviews that makes me understand why the customers sometimes go berserk at Waffle Houses. If somebody's being this rude and they toss the plate at you, I could see somebody getting a plate tossed at them over a counter and tossing it back over the counter and then chaos ensues. I also doubt corporate cares. Let's get to the next review, and that review comes from Ashley. 5 employees and only 1 was actually waitressing and 1 cooking. Other 3 did nothing but talk about baby daddies, labor laws, being sick, and needing to go home and doctor notes. None of them were wearing gloves except the cook. Nobody was wearing aprons or hairnets. And one of the waitresses only got up to pee the whole 30 minutes we were there despite the other people waiting for service or food. People talking about baby daddies, labor laws, and being sick? I'm a little shocked that Ashley is complaining about getting free entertainment with her food. Who doesn't like eavesdropping on other people's drama when you're out to eat? Alright, let's move on and read what happened to Teresa. There was 1 cook, 1 waitress. They were busy, but handled it okay. We waited a minute to be served. After being served, the waitress and the cook was very nice. We received our food, proceeded to eat. I had 2 eggs, hash browns with onions, bacon, and toast. I had eaten part of my egg, a little hash browns, and saw a hair.
I couldn't continue to eat.
I notified the waitress. She asked if I wanted another plate. My reply was no. I couldn't eat anymore after that. The waitress only took off $1.75, which should have been free. Very poor customer care. Gross. Quick Jeff story. I once had KFC and there was a hair embedded in the batter of one of my chicken sandwiches. I didn't have KFC for a couple years after that. Should I go back and leave a 1-star review? I'm not gonna do that. But what I am going to do is take us to the next Waffle House. Let's go. Our next Waffle House is in the state of Texas, in Austin, Texas. It has a 3.8 rating on 2,356 reviews. This Waffle House looks a little bit smaller than the other ones, and it is surrounded by red, no parking, fire lane curbs. I've never seen that many of those curbs before. Does this place start on fire a lot? Anyways, let's go read those 1-star reviews. Our first review for this Austin, Texas Waffle House comes from Ashley. We've been coming to this location for years, at least once a week, but the manager, Alexis, has a messed up attitude and had a smart mouthed to my husband. The grits had a twangy taste, bacon was half cooked, and the eggs had a weird taste. The manager, Alexis, was the one who cooked the food, and when we asked for the bacon to be cooked a little longer, she had an attitude. For me and my husband to be loyal customers to this location and be treated the way he did by Alexis is ridiculous. She even expected us to pay the bill even though we didn't eat the food. Alexis did ask us if there's something she could do to fix the problem, but at that point our appetites were ruined and didn't trust eating anything after tasting the tangy/sourness in the food. Abri, our waitress, and the other girls that were working were amazing. They were trying to accommodate us more than the manager, sadly. Alexis needs to be reevaluated as manager because she definitely didn't act like a manager. The only way we'll go back is if Alexis isn't there as an employee. This is a review for the Jeff detectives out there. Do you guys think Alexis sabotaged the food since these guys are regulars and she knows them? Was there some beef in the background with them? Or is something just wrong with their cold storage and the food is spoiled? Give me your best theories down below and let's go to the next review. And that next review comes from Samuel. I had an extremely disappointing experience at Waffle House today. The female manager was yelling at the workers, and I even witnessed her make one of the workers cry. This unprofessional behavior was already alarming, but it got worse. The manager rushed 3 blind customers out of their seats to make room for other patrons, forcing them to stand outside in the heat for about 25 to 30 minutes. This kind of treatment is absolutely unacceptable. I felt terrible for the blind customers and wish there was something I could have done to help them. Waffle House needs to seriously address this manager's conduct and ensure all customers are treated with respect and dignity. Samuel mentions a female manager. Do we think this manager is the Alexis from the other review? It's definitely not okay for a manager to yell at one of their employees to the point where they cry. I can understand feeling very uncomfortable if I was there eating. Let's read Bear's review and find out if they ran into this pesky manager too. Super disappointed. The food was great, but the lady with the gray hair working the early morning shift yelled at us, telling us it was to-go orders only as soon as we walked in. That was no issue, but she then continued to yell about how they were busy and could not accommodate orders, and then yelled at the staff trying to help her. She was clearly having a bad day. Everything else was great, just not the crazy yelling lady, refusing to serve us a meal, and making us take food home. Very disappointed. Ooh, we have a review that's sandwiched between super disappointed and very disappointed. And it also sounds like Bear ran into Alexis, or maybe it's a different manager with a bad attitude, but it sounds like it's the same person. I have a feeling they sabotaged the food in that first review. So far, this Waffle House has been about a bad manager or managers. I really hope it's just one person. Let's see if Josh ran into any of these people. 11:30 p.m., August 22nd, 2018. The good old days. Just left from this Waffle House with my daughters. I had been here before and enjoyed it, so I drove across town just to have something different. When I walked in, the dining area was messy, and I couldn't find a table that was clean. We sat at a dirty table. The waitress didn't even acknowledge us at any point. We began to look through the menu, still no acknowledgement. After a few minutes, a lone gentleman walks in. I assume he was a regular because the waitress greeted him and began to clean his table immediately, all while still ignoring us. I told my daughters to put the menus up and we were leaving. I am sure the food was fine, but customer service will ruin a business quicker than bad food. My family and I left without even a goodbye and went to Whataburger. Customer service was much better there, and we were not ignored. Yay, something different with Josh's review. It's not about a manager or managers making people cry or yelling at customers. I'm guessing from the date of Josh's review, it was from before the other people worked here. But anyways, I feel like we've all been in the situation before where you're sitting down at a restaurant and for some reason a waitress just doesn't come by. It can be a very frustrating experience that gets amplified by those hangry feelings. Most of the time you can flag down the waitress, but if you're really upset, you go to Whataburger. And with that, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Check out this video on screen now because YouTube thinks you'll like it. Leave a like if you haven't and subscribe for more. I've been Jeff and I can't wait to see you next time. Goodbye. Bye.